I like the composition of the painting which I've selected as a piece, as an artwork, which has inspired me tremendously. Um, it is a painting from Baburnama where um, Babur is giving directions to the gardeners, the royal gardeners, to lay down the foundations of the famous Bagh-e Wafa, the Garden of Fidelity, in Kabul. The beauty of the painting is that the composition, as well as the color palette, and also the placement of figures as to the trees and the plants. It's just out of this world. The Indian and the Mughal miniatures, they're full of such compositions where you come across some beautiful garden paintings. But this particular one has a very special place in the history of Mughal miniature. Perhaps there are a lot of reasons for that. For me, as a practicing artist, I find this garden painting quite animated in the sense that it has a lot of action. Many of the paintings which show garden setting, the figures are often sitting or they're static. Whereas in this particular painting, you come across these gardeners who are in full action and they're trying to plant beautiful trees under the supervision of great Emperor Babur. The other thing which really is quite fascinating about this beautiful painting is the color palette. The use of greens and various other colors. For example, oranges, yellows are beautiful. When you look at the range of green that has been used, that is also amazing. So when I actually did my own composition, which had to do with a garden project in Kabul, which was regenerated by the Aga Khan Development Network. So this particular painting really inspired me to work on the composition. This artwork I'm talking about, the Bagh-e Wafa painting, you can actually see Babur himself. And then the concept of Chahar Bagh, the Persian Chahar Bagh, the four gardens within a garden, and the water flows in between in the form of streams and channels across the garden. You also come across some beautiful orange trees, pomegranates, and a few other citrus trees. There are lovely birds, again, not static, but in action. So they are painted beautifully around those trees. So they're all flying. So one can actually talk a lot about this particular painting. I can go on and on as a miniature painter myself. But this particular painting has so much to offer to anybody who is into the creative field to get inspiration for his or her work. We're living in the times where we have to really be quite considerate about our environment, about where we live, what we are surrounded by. We have to make sure that we plant trees, not just trees, more trees. And this particular painting is such an inspiration, which the Mughals are known for. Not just producing beautiful paintings, but also making some outstanding gardens in the Indian subcontinent. The other thing is that this particular painting also gives me a lot of inspiration when I'm doing my own work. I can't say that this one painting has really inspired me, since we have to choose one object. Therefore, I have to really talk about one object, which is relevant for the works which I've produced, with a focus on environment. And for that, I've just mentioned before the Bari Babur, which I recreated in the form of miniature painting. It is a very contemporary artwork, but it has a lot of traditional references. The fruit orchards you can come across, the various terraces of the garden, and how the water channels they pass through this beautiful garden, which sort of starts from the mountains in Kabul and sort of runs into the plains, and then sort of ends where the river Kabul comes. There are quite a few terraces on this garden. You can see in the painting which I've produced, which is entirely my own composition, heavily inspired by the painting I'm talking about from the Babur Nama, and also quite a few others as well. That's it.